Okay, so good afternoon. Today I'd like to introduce you to Sue Bedford. Sue Bedford is a registered nurse and runs a company called Pulse Health Screening. Sue and I have known each other for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Is it longer than that?
Probably.
Might be longer. Time's just going so fast. So Sue, you're a registered nurse, and you've been a registered nurse, you were just telling me, since the age of 21, so only a few years. How did you get into doing what you do now, which is your health screening company?
Well, my last job in the NHS was as a practice nurse, and actually just prior to that, I was working in outpatients and waiting for my youngest one to go to school full time, with the aim to eventually go to be a practice nurse. And while I was in outpatients, I was seeing lots of people with sort of gut issues. It was probably one of the most common ones. But at that time, I was sent a tape in the post out of blue, and it talked about a nutritional supplement, and it sort of explained about the fact that we've got very few nutrients in our food today. Part of that is because of the soils, and they were sort of saying about this wonderful supplement that seemed to help with that. So I thought, oh, I just felt awful at the time. So I thought, well, I need to have something. So I took it, and for 6 weeks, my sister had seen me just before, and then she saw me at 6 weeks, and she said, "Gosh, you look so different." And I said, yes, I actually feel different. And it started to make me realize that there is a lot more to nutrition or food than we sort of believe. And it's, you know, I mean, I'm a nurse, but nurses and doctors aren't trained in nutrition. So yeah, so that was my light bulb moment, and I was encouraged to actually do a course on nutrition at a diploma level. It was only a very basic course, but it sort of really got me into thinking this. And I've always been keen on prevention and health promotion, and so that's when I became a practice nurse. That part of it was quite an important part. I did a little course on health promotion as well, and I just loved doing health screening, but the hours weren't really fitting in very well. So I decided to leave, and I started doing medicals for insurance companies, and I was going into people's homes and doing medicals, and I was finding they had high blood pressure, but my job wasn't to actually help them with their blood pressure, it was to take the details down. So I thought, I could do this. I could go into people's homes and do health screening, offer health screening services and nutritional advice and stuff like that. And that's what happened. And so I sort of gradually set up Pulse Health Screening. Did invite another nurse to come along with me, and the name actually comes from a special gadget that I use, which measures pulse, the pulse wave, and it's looking for arterial stiffness. So measuring arterial stiffness to see whether people's arteries are stiffer than they should be. And because it's called a pulse wave analyzer, that's where the pulse came from. But it didn't work out with the other nurse, unfortunately. So I carried on myself, and it's just kind of evolved from there.
So what type of things can you offer with health screening? I mean, I've actually had some health screening with you, but it's amazing what you can tell by, you know, various tests that you do in terms of your body and what's working and what isn't working.
And I do the normal kind of one you'd expect, with blood pressure, you know, height and weight, does cholesterol tests and things like that. And that's sort of the well person check, I would call that. But I also do another test, which another gadget I really like. I'm into science and I love gadgets. And I got this bioresonance device in 2012. And that's actually really helpful because it's filling in some of the gaps that you might not be getting through the physical testing. So there's like the blood pressure and the lung function and stuff like that. And it sort of finds out things like, you know, nutritional deficiencies, where there's imbalances, where people may have some toxins that they're building up. And it just sort of gives you a bigger picture. And so it's called a bioenergetic test. And that is probably the health screen that I do the most. And it's the one that's most popular because very often it's people who've had a problem and they've not resolved it, and various blood tests and things like that haven't quite explained it, and so it can sometimes help with giving a few more clues. So it's a bit like being a medical detective. I also do lab tests as well. So I do the conventional lab tests. I'm registered with quite a few in the UK and also America. And so I can offer a much greater array of blood tests than you would get from your GP.
Okay.
And,
so can people come directly to you for that, Sue?
Yes, I mean, they're on my website. A lot of the tests are listed on my website, or if they can't see them there, they can just contact me, and I can look for them because there's I'm registered with quite a few laboratories, and I can't list everything on my site, so I just do the basic ones. But yes, it's quite useful. I get people from all over the country contacting me because they need something and they just can't get it locally from their GP.
So what's happened with regards to, obviously we've gone into lockdown and a lot of the stuff that we've been able to do, because I know a lot of the testing you had done previously was face to face. How has that changed?
Yes, well, that just overnight everything changed, and just a couple of labs were actually closed, so most of them stayed open, so that part was fine, so people could still contact me and order blood tests or various tests that I do, because a lot of them can be done in the home, so saliva can be collected at home, not a problem. But yes, my bioresonance test that completely stopped, and also all face to face. But having said that, during the lockdown, I was on a conference with other people with the same machine as me, and quite a few of them have for years, even before the lockdown, have been doing remote testing with it. And although this sounds very strange, they send a piece of hair to the practitioner, and the practitioner actually tests their hair. And I thought, well, actually, yes, this is going to be something I could do, because I got used to going on to Zoom, and I thought, well, I could do a consultation face to face with the person on Zoom, have their hair, test that, and so it was done live, because it's quantum physics. The way it works is quantum physics, and although this might sound really strange, but there's proper science behind it. Wherever a piece of that person is, it's unique to that person, so it's their DNA. If you test that, you are actually testing the person themselves, no matter where they are. And I mean, these space programs are using this sort of quantum physics things, this remote type of testing, and yes, so I trialed it. I sent out a message on Facebook to a few groups, and I got 5 people. I wanted 5 people to try it who I'd never tested before, and it was really good. It went really well. So I thought, so I can do this now, even after lockdown. So I think the lockdown has actually helped an awful lot in terms of making us a bit more innovative in how we do our business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you wouldn't think of doing that, and if you can do part of your testing by just receiving a piece of hair, then that's just amazing, isn't it?
Yes, and the rest of it's exactly the same. So they get a full report, just like I normally would do, with a plan of action of what to do, sort of diets, lifestyle, and things like that, to try and help the imbalances I'm picking up. And because it's face-to-face on Zoom, I'm still doing a consultation. So I'm still asking them questions about their past medical history, the symptoms they're experiencing, and all of that. So it works really well.
Oh, that's brilliant. I know one of the things that you started to do in the last year, 18 months, is actually wearable technology. Now that sounds a bit spaced out, and what does that mean? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, again, it's really scientific, but it's neurotechnology. It actually works on the nervous system, and it's a little pattern which is embedded into socks, insoles. I'll show a picture of the socks. The socks is a pattern embedded. It's actually woven into the socks, so it goes underneath the ball of the foot, or insoles. Not quite so easy to see because it's actually embedded there. It's kind of molded in there. And there's a patch. I don't have a patch with me at the moment, but it goes on. That goes on the skin, and the nervous system immediately recognises this pattern. It's almost like it was something that God made, and you know, and it was waiting for someone to find it, and so this guy, who's a Canadian guy, his mother had MS when he was 13, and he decided that he was going to go on a mission to try and find something to help her, and it led him to this, and lots of different studies that actually led him to. So millions of dollars went into it, but this pattern, actually immediately your body senses it. It goes straight to sends signal to your brainstem, which is the gateway to your brain, and it almost unscrambles everything. So it's like there's a gateways trying to get in. All these messages are trying to get in and out, and what it does, it just helps to untangle everything. It just makes everything go through both ways. So it makes the brain work more efficiently. It optimizes the brain function, and it can be seen on EEGs, a special type of EEG called a quantitative EEG, in a 3D pattern, and you can see the parts of the brain open up on this as soon as the body comes into contact with this technology. So what it's translating into is better balance and stability in absolutely every single person. So 100% of people notice the difference with that straight away, but it helps with pain management as well. People who've got neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, which is going to be either pain or actually can be numbness as well. But it's actually helping the nerves to start functioning more efficiently, and pain goes down, or in some cases it goes away completely, and other people are starting to feel things again. And the reason I wanted to get it was for my dad, who was very unsteady on his feet, and he was able to get rid of his walking stick for most of the time. So he only used it now and again when he was on uneven ground. And so just by preventing a fall, really, I think, because they're having better stability, and they found that it reduces the fall risk by 8 times. Lots of studies helps people who are athletes as well, who want to improve their game, improve their times. Golfers are hitting the ball further. It's having an amazing effect on the brain.
Yeah, we could almost do another call just on that, because it's you know, and maybe we should do that, because I know you can tell how excited you are about, you know, that element of what you do.
Yes, because it just gives people so much hope. It helps the healing process, and I suppose that's the thing, that why I'm recommending it to people, because it actually means that they are going to improve quicker. And I mean, I just mentioned one thing. What we were all impressed with at Wibbin was one of the members who has a tremor in her hand, and had it for 5 years, and she just stood on the insoles in this case, because I was just doing a test on her, and her tremor stopped completely, immediately. And when she wears socks when she's doing her work, and the socks every time actually stop her tremor, so she's able to do whatever she needs to do. And you know, and I've had so many studies, even things for people with Parkinson's, and that's a much harder one to deal with, but people with Parkinson's are able to function much better because of this technology. So
that is amazing. So where can people find out? Obviously direct people to your website, so where is that?
Right, well, the website's called pulsescreening.co.uk. So it's a bit of a long one, so I left out the health bit. But it's pulsescreening.co.uk. I am on LinkedIn, so it's a / and pulse screening, and also Facebook is / pulse screening. Yes, so those are the main places. But my website has got the bits about the individual health screens that I do. It's also one links through to corporate, because I also do health screening in the workplace as well. And then there's just the other section is about the neurotechnology, so people can find out all the studies and a bit more about the different products that they do.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I'm sorry it's such a short you know, time that we've got, because there is so much with what Sue does in terms of her screenings, and you know, from a personal health point of view, and if you've got private medical insurance as well, then you know, you can claim back some of the health assessments that Sue does through your medical insurance as well. So you know, it's definitely worth having a go. If you're not having a go sounds wrong, but it's definitely worth having a health screening if you know, you've got some issues that you're not quite sure about, and just to have an overall MOT really. But Thank you for talking with us today, Sue, and people go and have a look at our website.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, Louise.